Good morning, guys. Welcome to our YouTube channel with me and teacher Marks. So today we're going to talk about the World Cup, what is going on. We have loads of topics. The referee, the England game, the brutal England fans go edited the Wikipedia of the referee, loads of things, even match predictions. So what are we starting off today?
Well, I guess we'll do a quick recap of the matches that happened over the weekend, the quarterfinal matches.
Let's do it.
We'll talk about those. So I guess the first one up was the Brazil-Croatia game. I felt of the four games, I guess that was the least controversial match. The major point is the determination of heart of Croatia never giving up. They looked done. They looked dead and buried. They looked like they were on a plane going home, and then suddenly they weren't. And you just can't count that team out because they have so much experience and so much character. And their manager also made a few minor tweaks and adjustments the last 15 minutes of that game that really kind of left Brazil scratching their heads.
Yeah, the late drama goal.
Late drama goal, yeah. The Brazilian manager in that game, Tite, Neymar got the goal, the big goal, in the 105th minute. That meant they had to play the second 15 minutes up 1-0. But Brazil then did some very strange things. First of all, they probably should have taken Neymar out at that point because they were 1-0 up. They didn't need him. In the second 15 minutes, he didn't do anything anyway because they were trying to defend, so there was no point of having him out there on the pitch. Second of all, the fullback, Danilo, the great fullback, he switched sides. He was playing the left the whole game, and then the last 15 minutes, he switched to the right-hand side for whatever reason. And they brought on a substitute, and he started playing the left, and Danilo was then on the right. And sure enough, the Croatian manager picked up on that right away. In that last 15 minutes, Croatia were just attacking the left. Fred came in from the substitute position as well. He was a disaster those last 15 minutes.
Mental.
For some reason, Fred was trying to push forward up 1-0 when he's a defensive player and he was sent in to defend, and he was completely out of position. And so what happened was, sure enough, Croatia attacking the left with the substitute with Danilo then on the right, and Fred completely out of position, and sure enough, the cross came in from the left, and the goal was scored, and Croatia, the next thing you know, they sent the game to penalty kicks, and from there it was over because mentally they're so strong.
Oh yeah, and the penalties. We've got loads to talk about penalties. They've got loads of drama on Neymar, why he didn't take the penalty, why he didn't take it, why he had to let Marquinhos take it. Well, what do you think about it? I've read some of the news about it as well. People complain to Neymar that why didn't you take the penalty? The fourth penalty, the one that would decide if they could continue going or they would go home. So, for me, I think Neymar should have taken it. I think what he thinks is he wants to be the hero and then maybe could send Brazil to the semi-finals. I think that's what's going on in his mind. But
I would 100% agree with that. There's certain players that crave that spotlight. Fair enough. You know, that's a magical moment. The fifth penalty, you move on and you score. It's a great moment. But statistically, if you look at penalty shootouts, they say about 2/3 of them, so 66% of them, are already done and dusted and decided by the time you get to the fifth penalty. A lot of times, the fifth penalty isn't even necessary. Neymar absolutely should not have been taking the fifth penalty. They say, and I agree with, your best player should always take the third penalty. Always. If you looked in that game, sure enough, Luka Modric took the third penalty for Croatia.
I would say they should took the first.
The first one can set the tone. Messi took the first for Argentina against the Netherlands. We'll talk about that very soon.
Right.
So they say either the third or the first, your best player should take. The third is important because if you miss the first couple, the third one's going to keep you in it. Or the third one can kind of reestablish your momentum if you've made one and missed one. The third one is always, they say it's always the key penalty is the third one. And Modric was cool and he finished the third. Messi, he took the first. The first one can kind of set the tone as well. It's very, very important. Neymar should have taken either the first or the third penalty. But worst case scenario, it should have been 2 or 4. He should have taken one of the first 4 to make sure that it's necessary. There's been a few times over the years in some very big Real Madrid games and some Portugal games as well, with involving Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo always will take the fifth penalty, full stop. He loves it. He loves that moment.
Sure.
But there has been situations over the years where, sure enough, Ronaldo has not gotten a chance to take the fifth penalty because his team has already been eliminated by that point. So this is a talking point that's been around for decades and decades. It'll never go away, and it's back in the spotlight now because it really stung Brazil in that shootout.
Oh yeah. Well, for me, I think Neymar should have taken the first one because the Brazil they missed the first penalty.
That's right. That's right.
Who took the penalty?
The first one was Marquinhos.
No. He was the fourth one.
He was the fourth.
He looks nervous in his eye as well. I can't remember.
I'll have
his
to look
name.
that up. He looked extremely nervous.
He doesn't look confident at all. I think if Neymar taking the first penalty and the Brazilian scores, I think the momentum would change.
Without a doubt, you make that first one, and from there you can kind of push on. They say, furthermore, the team who shoots first in a penalty shootout statistically has a 60-40 advantage. More likely to win. If you are the team taking the first penalty, it favors you 60-40. In this World Cup, I've actually been keeping an eye on it. It's 50-50. Japan attempted first, and they lost to Croatia.
That was a disaster.
And in this one, Brazil also attempted first, and they lost to Croatia. The other ones where it worked out was Argentina went first against the Netherlands, and Morocco went first against Spain. So in this World Cup, it's been 50-50. But historically, they say if you attempt first as a team, you're more likely to win 60% of the time. And that's because if you make the first penalty, you're already at an advantage, and that team is constantly chasing you after that, and it puts the pressure on them.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of pressure is going on. But yeah, that's good. I think that's gonna do it for Brazil. And
yeah, that's it. We move on. Croatia, they deserve their win.
But to be fair though, I kind of hate them a little bit. They knocked Japan out. But I mean Argentina and Dutch. The referee of that game was absolutely what a knob he is. He just got sent home as well.
He got sent home,
this morning. He was disaster. Poor decisions by him. Very poor.
Oh yeah. There's not really too much to say about it other than the fact that he just wasn't strong enough. That's it. He had some really bad decisions on both sides. Particularly against the Dutch, but he had some bad ones against Argentina as well. The big thing with him is he just lost control of the game. That's it. The yellow cards were completely out of control.
It was absolutely brutal.
And that's a reflection of a manager who can't control the game. The players knew that they could be physical, and the ref wasn't going to do too much about it other than book them. The players were fairly confident that they weren't going to get sent off for doing anything as well. Some of the challenges that we saw were, at best, they were reckless, and at worst, they were horrific. So, yeah, he's gone, and I don't see him I don't see him refereeing a big match ever again.
Yeah. Also, apart from him, we've got another guy, the referee in England against France.
Yes.
He was absolutely horrendous. I mean, we've got some things to show you guys. Well, I'll pop this up on the screen. But yeah, the England fans go and edited his Wikipedia.
Okay, well.
And I'll read it out loud for you. I'll read it out loud for you. So his name was Wilton. I don't know what it is. Sampio.
Yep, Sampio.
Yeah, whatever he was, I don't care.
Yep.
Screw him. So yeah, let me read it out loud for you guys. He said that he is a French fan and a Brazilian football referee. He was recently offered a lap dance by Mbappe for favorable decisions to France. Oh yeah.
Well, listen. Another one. You're talking about a really, really bad game as well. Some strange decisions. England did get 2 penalties. We can say that. However, the second one did require a VAR intervention, so the referee didn't give that one. It wasn't until he was contacted by VAR to go look at the monitor that he did. So I guess technically he really only gave one of those penalties. The other one was from VAR.
I mean, poor.
Yeah.
He even waved his hand and said, "Play on."
Play on, yeah. He said play on. That a lot of referees do not want to give two penalties in the same game. They don't want it, but it definitely was a penalty, so it had to be given. He had a really bad game. That's it. England still had their chances. What's frustrating, I think, for a lot of the England fans who watched that was the winning goal for France. If England is going to give up that goal, and by that goal I mean the fullback getting beat on the left-hand side where he's not playing tight enough, and a cross going into the box where a center back's not playing tight enough, and it's essentially a free header into the box to score a goal. If England is going to give up that goal, they might as well play Alexander-Arnold at fullback, the Liverpool fullback, because Alexander-Arnold isn't good at defending. He's also going to give up that goal as well. But he can offer something special going forward that no other English player can do.
Surely.
So if England are going to give up that goal, they might as well have him on the pitch. And that might have made a difference in that game.
Yeah, I know. But the second penalty of England, that was an assault by Theo Hernandez. I mean, that was an absolute assault. I mean, Saka, look at him. Look at the way Theo Hernandez attacks him. It was an absolutely assault.
Oh yeah, clearly a foul. Yeah, absolutely, clearly a foul. It was reckless. It was clumsy. Yeah, it's almost as if the player was saying, you know what? I dare you to give me a penalty on this. He didn't think the referee was going to give him a penalty. Frankly, he was right. The referee didn't. Again, VAR had to intervene on it. Because it was a real moment of madness, definitely. Sadly, Harry Kane couldn't finish it.
Yep, it was. I mean, I thought it was coming home that day. I think at that time, I think it was going to the extra time.
Oh, I mean, if that game goes to 2-2, I mean, who knows what happened? There's been a lot of criticism about England after that game, but the reality is if that game goes to 2-2, Harry Kane scores that penalty, which he does 90% of the time. Who knows how that game's going to finish, how that's going to play out. And it would be a totally different discussion that we're having right now.
Yeah, and then also there were loads of myth saying that Lloris knows Kane. Because I've been watching the watch along from some guy, his channel was the United Stands, and then loads of his fans said that Lloris knows Kane.
Well, they are teammates.
Myth.
They are teammates. But all I can say about the penalty is this. I know from watching Harry Kane over the years and from interviews with him, he loves to finish on the left-hand side for his penalties. It's his go-to. And his first penalty was bang on, sure enough, left-hand side. And I'm quite sure that he was nervous to go to the left-hand side again on the second penalty because he figured that Lloris would be thinking, okay, I don't care what happens, I'm not going to let Harry Kane beat me on the left-hand side again. I don't care about anything else. I'm just not going to let me beat him on the left. And I think this got into Kane's head, so Kane thought, okay, I'm going to go down the middle this time. And he just got under the ball, and that was it.
Yeah, that was an absolute disaster for England.
They were in that game. It was close. I guess one more thing before we move on to the semifinals as well, just to finish up here on the refs, and I mentioned this to you as well before we started this video, but I was reading the stories as well about the referee from the Portugal-Morocco game, the other semifinal. I was watching that game live, and I didn't think the referee had necessarily a good game, but I didn't think he necessarily had a bad game either. I thought he was just, indifferent, let's say. However, after the game, the Portuguese players were scathing at the referee, absolutely furious with him. And the big talking point was that referee was from Argentina, and they weren't happy that there was a referee from a country who's still competing in the World Cup officiating their game. Furthermore, when that referee is from a country where Leo Messi hails from, and Cristiano Ronaldo, of course, being Portugal, they thought that there was some black magic involved where that referee wanted to make sure that Ronaldo couldn't pass to the next round. Now, I don't believe that. I didn't really see it in the game either. But the Portuguese players were not happy about it at all.
They're mad because they're...
Yeah, they were furious with the Argentinian referee. But they weren't good enough. That's all there is to it.
They just couldn't finish.
They couldn't finish, and the referee didn't have too much to do with that. Were there a few maybe small decisions that went against them? Perhaps, but I can't think of anything major in that game that went against them. So I thought Morocco deserved their victory.
Yep. But before we go on, one more thing. What do you think about Southgate? Will he be quitting? Because there were lots of news saying that he was ready to quit the job. And who do you think is going to be the man who perfectly replaced him?
Okay, well, first of all, I'll say this. I know that game took a lot out of Southgate. I don't think he's going to step down. I don't. I think he's going to think about it for a long time, but he's going to say, like, okay, I've got one more in me. The next Euro is only 18 months away. Germany is the host of it. This is the worst Germany team in about 100 years. They're absolutely terrible. So I don't think England will really be worried that Euro will be played on German soil. They'll probably feel like they can win that. And I think Southgate will come back for one more big tournament for that Euro. If he does step down, I guess I wouldn't be shocked. Even though I don't think he will, I don't think he would be shocked. And as for your other question about who would be perfect
who would be that man? The man who bring England to the next level. Well, for me, I would say Wayne Rooney or Frank Lampard. Just both of them. I mean, they're England as well. They're from England as well. They're British, so you know the spirits and the belief.
Right off the bat, I would say I agree with you. It needs to be an English manager.
Of course.
I really, really like your thinking on that one. I guess another name we could throw out there as well is Steven Gerrard.
Steven Gerrard.
Out of those three, Gerrard is actually the only one that's currently unemployed.
Oh yeah.
After being sacked, so he's available. But Gareth Southgate was sacked from Middlesbrough many years ago.
Oh, yeah.
So these things happen. I like your thinking. Lampard could do it. Rooney could do it, but I guess the one that I would go for is Steven Gerrard.
Steven Gerrard
would be the one.
Yep, he could do it.
Yep,
for sure.
He would instantly have the respect of the players. Well, I guess any of those three would have the respect of their players. Of
course.
If we kind of look at what they've accomplished so far, okay, Frank Lampard was a disaster at Chelsea. He got sacked.
He was.
The job he's done at Everton actually has been pretty respectable. They have no money to spend. They sold Richarlison, and they haven't spent any of the money that they got back for him. So Frank Lampard, I guess technically, is kind of overachieved with Lampard, considering that that's a bad team with no money, and he's got them in what I think maybe 15th place right now. Respectable for a poor club. Rooney, he was at Derby County last season. Actually, did a good job, but he left mutually because the club had no money. And then for Gerrard, wonderful with Rangers, won the title. A disaster with Aston Villa.
Oh, really?
He's kind of the opposite of Lampard because Aston Villa did have a lot of money to spend. They spent it, and those players that Gerrard bought were a total failure, and that's why he got sacked. So I guess if we look at that, there's some pros and cons for all of them.
Of course.
Any of those three, though.
Any of those three could do the job.
Could do the job.
But to be fair, though, Southgate really improved the England team.
Oh. Absolutely.
It was absolutely phenomenal, but
yeah, the one thing I'll always my one negative I have about Southgate that I'll say is in these last three big tournaments, World Cup 18, Euro 2020, and World Cup 2022, I still don't feel like England have a big win, a big scallop. World Cup 18, they beat Panama, they beat Sweden, they beat Colombia. Nice wins, but in my book, nothing major. They lost to Belgium twice, and they lost to Croatia. We move on to the next Euro. They're good enough to beat the Czech Republic. They even beat Croatia in the group stage of the last Euro, but that was a game that was played in Wembley, and it was only 1-0, I believe. They beat Ukraine. They beat Germany, again, the worst Germany team in 100 years, and again, that game was played at Wembley Stadium. They barely had enough to get past Denmark, another game that was played at Wembley Stadium.
That was very scary.
Scary match. And then when they met a team that couldn't control the midfield, the Italians, they ended up losing that game. And then we look at this current World Cup. You know, they beat Wales easily. They beat Iran easily. They beat Senegal easily. They came up against one of the big boys, France. They lost. they still don't have a major win. And one more thing about Southgate stepping down, he mentioned that this previous tournament that they were involved in, this UEFA Nations, this new competition that they do, UEFA Nations.
Yeah.
They were involved in that this previous summer, small tournament before the World Cup, and they took some really ugly losses in that, including a 4-0 to Hungary in a game that was played in Molineux, Wolves Stadium, Wolverhampton. They lost 4-0 to Hungary, and Southgate actually mentioned that game still kind of haunts him. It still kind of took a lot out of him.
Of course it's going to be. You lost to Hungary
4-0 at home. So they still do have some problems. They still don't have a major win under Southgate. In my book, they don't. So if he's earned the right to stay on because he has taken them far. But on the other hand, if they move on without him, it might not be a bad thing because he might not be the man to take the final step with them.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep. So let me check something. We'll see if we missed any topics.
See if we missed anything.
All
Yeah.
right, so we've got.
Well, there's so much going on.
Oh, this one.
Oh, well, this thing about the referees. I don't know who's going to be the referee for the final,
But now, it was more likely to be Wilton bloody Sampio.
yeah. I mean, the guy I'll throw out there that I think should be taking over the final is Michael Oliver, the English referee. Michael Oliver from the Premier League. I feel like he's done a decent job, better than a decent job. I think he's done a fine job at this World Cup. I don't feel like he's made any catastrophic blunders, huge mistakes. He's controlled the game, so that would be my pick for the final is Michael Oliver.
Oh yeah. So Michael Oliver. So.
But we'll know that later in the week.
We'll know that later. But if this guy got to be in the finals, of course he's a bloody French fan. He was offered the lap dance by Mbappe.
Any referee that has had a controversial game or has any kind of history with another nation that's still participating in this World Cup should have zero involvement in the final match. Full stop.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, FIFA's kind of going down a dark road there.
A little bit. But yeah. That's it about the referee, I think.
Oh, I think we've covered the referees well.
Of course.
I think that we've kind of summarized those quarterfinal games as well, and Gareth Southgate's future as well. I think we've done a good job covering all of it.
So now, the predictions, the future. Who knows about it? Let's start off with the semi-finals.
The semi-finals, yep.
The Morocco against
Morocco's playing France.
Against France.
Yeah.
Not discounting Morocco, but I think France got this sealed in the bag.
Well, this could be an example of one step too far for Morocco, but I'm not willing to count them out. My concern for Morocco is they've expended a lot of energy, and they also picked up some injuries in that game against Portugal as well, so their team might not be 100% fit. Their defending, though, has been absolutely incredible.
They did.
They've only given up one goal in the entire competition, and that was an own goal against Canada. That's it.
That's
one
impressive.
Goal.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Croatia, Belgium, Portugal, and Spain could not score against them. None of them.
Wow.
And the one goal against Canada was an own goal. So that is remarkable defending. This game against France...
it's going to be a tough one.
It's a very tough game. I do think both teams are going to score in this game. I'm going to go for a 2-1 France win. I think it'll be a very tight game. I think it'll be decided by very fine margins. But I do think France will have just enough to edge it, just enough. And I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory for the French.
We're going to go for 2-1.
Yep, 2-1.
Well, not discounting them, but I'm going to agree with you as well for 2-1 France winning them. But yeah, Morocco did a pretty great job in the World Cup. They absolutely surprised us for coming to the semi-finals. They've come very far, to be fair.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would. If Morocco pulled it off and took another step to the final, I personally wouldn't be surprised. I got a lot of respect for their team, and I've really enjoyed watching them. Maybe Hakim Ziyech has one special or two special moments in him in this semifinal to kind of pull his team and his country into the final. We'll find out, but I will go with France. But I guess from a personal standpoint, it would be kind of nice if Morocco could just edge it.
Yeah, well, we'll see. What about Croatia and Argentina? Well, to be fair, I want to see Argentina wins this.
Well,
Nothing personal, but Messi. I mean, it's his last World Cup.
Yeah.
I mean, he got something. He got something in this match tonight.
it is tonight. This match is almost impossible to predict.
It is very impossible. But they've got a lot of history when they go against each other. I mean, the previous one was Argentina lost. Oh, how many? 3-0.
Yeah, they've played a couple. Yeah, I've read that. Yeah, they have played a couple of times in the past. Not recently, but they have played a few times. I don't think that will have too much effect on this game. Like you were talking about Messi, this is really his last chance for the World Cup. But on the other hand, it's Luka Modric's final chance as well, and he's one of the absolute best of not only the past 30 or 40 years, but I guess we can call him one of the best of all time as well. So one of these guys is going to be absolutely desperate to be playing in the final on Sunday night. Croatia have gone 120 minutes the last couple of games, but Argentina also went 120 minutes against the Dutch as well. So I think that they'll both be a little bit tired in this match. What I do know is that Croatia will not panic at any point in this match. They'll never feel like they're out of it. They'll always feel like they're in this game and they have this game. Whereas if Croatia could score the first goal,
the momentum.
Yeah. In this competition, there's only been one time when Argentina were playing from behind and they kind of had to recover, and that was their opening match against Saudi Arabia, and they could not do it. They panicked and they looked terrible. If Croatia can score first in this game, I'm certain that they're going to go to the final.
Of course
I'm
they will.
certain. If Croatia can get the first goal, I feel very, very comfortable that they're going to the final if they can get the first goal. If Argentina get the first goal, who
I think
knows?
it's both-sided games. If Argentina gets the first goal, maybe they'll score. Maybe Croatia will score in maybe the next 15-20 minutes. We'll see. But I think Argentina defender was an absolutely disaster. I mean, even the midfielders, I don't even trust them. I don't trust all of them.
Yeah, neither do I. The game will be decided by the finest of margins. The Croatian manager, he sees things. He picks up on the little details in games that sometimes I miss. There's not a thing that slips past him. And I think that he might be one of the keys to tonight's game. He might kind of be able to figure out some things that are going on the pitch and make the right adjustments. I am going to go for a Croatian win. I think that they'll have just enough to do it again to make the final. So I will go for a Croatia win. If I have to pick it, I guess I'm going to go for 1-1 penalty kicks. Croatia do it again.
Croatia penalty kicks, but Emiliano Martinez, he was a penalty specialist. I mean, he takes Argentina to the penalty they
correct. Yeah,
last year.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
He was a penalty specialist. He saves like loads of penalties in his career.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I don't think Livakovic has that much to beat Martinez in penalty savings. He only saves one from the Brazil match. He only saves one.
He only saved one. He saved 3 against Japan. So I don't. It'll be decided by the Tyson margins. Here is one statistic for you. In the history of the World Cup, there's only 2 countries that have never lost a penalty shootout. Argentina is one of them, 5 for 5.
Oh,
Croatia is the other one. They're 4 for 4. So if they do go to a penalty shootout tonight,
this one's going to be on fire.
Yeah, history will be made. They are the only 2 nations to never have been defeated in a penalty kick competition at the World Cup. So that's kind of something to keep in mind. But I think there's a good chance we will see that competition happen again tonight, and I'll go for a Croatian victory.
I'll go for Argentina victories on penalties.
Well, that's not a bad pick. As for the matchup between Messi and Luka Modric, I think they're both going to have wonderful games.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They're both gonna play inspired football, and who knows? One of those 2 guys could really be the difference to win the game in the 90 minutes. Messi could have that moment of magic that pushes Argentina over in 90 minutes, and Luka Modric could as well. I could really see that happening on either way, where tomorrow morning we're reading the headlines on Twitter that says moment of magic from Modric takes Croatia to the final, or inspirational Messi takes Argentina to the final. I can see the headlines now either way.
It's coming up.
Where one of those two guys will their team to the final, because this game is really tight to call. But I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, but both of them was going to be the engine of the team. They're going to be the engine of the team. I'm telling you that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it's been a great World Cup.
It is a great World Cup. Loads of mystery things that happen, loads of unpredictable things, loads of surprise.
Yep.
But what about the finals? Who do you think is going to be at the finals?
Well, I mean, based on what we've just talked about, I am going to go for France and Croatia.
I'm going to go for France and Argentina.
It's not a bad pick at all.
But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. How about the well, here in Thailand, the matches, the semifinals, 2 a.m. 2 a.m. Are you going to be waking up to watch those?
Of course. Why would I miss it? I mean, 4 years, every 4 years.
That's right.
I wouldn't miss it. I mean.
Yep.
The last World Cup in 2018, some of the match was quite early.
Correct.
But some of them was like, oh my god, it was absolutely late at night. But
that's right.
I mean, that time we didn't care that much. But this year, I'm telling you what, I won't miss it.
Yeah. Well, the good news is the final on Sunday night is at 10 p.m.
Oh yeah.
So
10 p.m. is perfect. It's okay. It's
perfect here in Thailand. It's absolutely perfect. So we have that to look forward to. But yeah, these semifinals, we can't miss them. We absolutely can't miss them. And I'm really excited for it. One more thing I guess I will mention, the Argentina-Croatia game that maybe could give Argentina a small advantage is Argentinian supporters have absolutely taken over Qatar. Now, I know that a lot of that is kind of the local Qatar supporters as well that absolutely love Messi. So they're out with their Messi shirts on, cheering for Messi. So I know the locals in Qatar are fully behind Argentina. But with that said, there are tens of thousands of Argentinians that have come over on the flight from Argentina to Qatar and have absolutely taken over Doha. And I've noticed that with the exception of the first game against Saudi Arabia, of course with Saudi Arabia having great support in Qatar, Argentina has made these basically home games for them. Yeah. I mean, when they were playing the Netherlands the other night, there was just a tiny amount of orange in the stadium. And I'm sure tonight we're only going to see a tiny amount of red, white, and blue in that stadium for Croatia. It's going to be mostly all baby blue and white shirts for Argentina. And that might be enough to push them over that wonderful crowd support that they have been getting that's really turned these matches into home games for them.
Talking about Argentina fans, you remind me of something. You know, the games when Netherlands against the Dutch. After the match, Messi press conference, he was absolutely roasting Louis van Gaal and roasting the Netherlands. He was like, when I think some of the players from the Netherlands comes and then he was like, fuck off, idiots. He was saying that.
It was all ugly. It was real ugly. So before the game, Louis van Gaal said a few things about being able to stop Messi, which I know Messi didn't appreciate. But the main thing about that all goes back to Louis van Gaal's time at Manchester United. It all goes back to that.
That was horrible.
Where Van Gaal had Angel Di Maria, the great Argentinian player at Man United, and they signed him. And basically that signing has turned out historically to be probably one of the 5 biggest transfer disasters in the history of the Premier League. Di Maria was terrible. He was pathetic, and he was shipped out almost immediately. But from Di Maria's point of view, he's always said that the reason he was so bad there is because Louis van Gaal didn't like him, and that Louis van Gaal made it his personal mission to make sure that he failed at Man United. And I know that has a lot to do with what happened the other night in that game. Why those Argentinian players hate Van Gaal so much.
They bloody hate him.
They hate him. So in terms of what he said about Messi, how he allegedly treated Angel Di Maria, and the hard-nosed tactics that the Dutch played in that game, that all set off a powder keg of emotions. And it got the best of Messi. He shouldn't have done it. And I think he knows he shouldn't have done it, but in the heat of the moment, these things happen.
But they're gone anyway, so
they're gone anything.
No problem for Argentina as a Messi now.
That's right. That's right. Well, anyway, we'll definitely be talking about the final later in the
Oh
week.
yeah, we'll do
after these
it. We'll
matches.
absolutely do it. Maybe this Friday.
I don't see why not.
Yeah, let's do it about the finals, and then I think that should do it for today.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Don't forget to place your bets, ladies.
Place your bets, yeah.
Place your bets for France and Argentina.
Yeah, well, we'll say Croatia, Argentina. In the quarterfinal picks, I got 2 out of 4. I got the France one right, and I got the Argentina correct. We actually, to be fair, both you and I said most likely Argentina over the Netherlands on penalty kicks.
Oh yeah.
And we hit that one bang on.
We bang on. Smashed it.
Yep.
We bloody smashed it.
And I also said France by 1 goal over England. Nailed that one as well.
You nailed it.
So 2 out of 4. The other ones, okay, I was incorrect on Croatia, Brazil, and I was incorrect on Morocco and Portugal. But hey, for my book, 2 out of 4, that ain't bad.
That's gonna do it. That's more than enough.
More than enough.
We got it bang on. We hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
We hit it straight and hard. So that's gonna do it for today, guys. Be sure to follow us and subscribe, and we'll talk about the finals.
Absolutely.
We'll see you guys on the final episode of the final World Cup Qatar 2022. That's it with me against Steve.
Brilliant. Adios.
Adios. See you guys next episode. Bye.